Good evening. Right now, I am going to read your social studies passage for Wednesday, April 29th, and it is called The Great Wall of China. So, the last two passages we've read for social studies have dealt with ancient China. Okay, so this is going to be your last one, and just know that there will be a little short quiz to do on Friday over the ancient Indians and the ancient Chinese. So make sure you're paying attention and to especially the important details of the passage. Okay. Now, one thing I will mention. Up at the top of this passage, I have written out the definition for the word legalism, just because that's a word that you've probably not really ever heard of, and it's not really defined very well in the passage. So that's a word I do want you to kind of know. So I did put the definition up there at the top. So hopefully that will help you understand what legalism is as you read that word in the passage. Okay, so make sure you check out that definition up at the top of the page. All right, without further ado, before we read, let's go over the questions here real quick so we have a focus for what we are reading about, what we're supposed to try to find as we read, what the important information is. First question, do you think building the Great Wall of China was a good or bad thing? Explain your reasoning. Second question, how was the Great Wall used by the government? So how did the government use the Great Wall? And then question 3, draw a section of the Great Wall, label the important facts about it. Okay, so draw a section of the wall, label the important facts about it. So, draw a section of the wall, and then, based on how you draw it, there should be some important things that you kind of include in your drawing. So then you just want to maybe identify those important things in your drawing and maybe describe what they are or why you put them there. Okay? So, here we go with the Great Wall of China. If you have ever been to China or read a travel advertisement for China, you have probably seen a picture of the Great Wall of China. While it is a tourist destination now, it was originally built to protect. It was built to protect the Chinese people from Mongol and other invaders, and it was also built to protect the economy and trade that occurred along the Silk Road. We learned about the Silk Road on Monday. During the dynasties, legalism was promoted. The Great Wall was helpful in enforcing the clearly stated laws relating to the economy under the philosophy of legalism. And I'll just go ahead and read that definition up there. So legalism was that humans are naturally evil. So humans will naturally do things that aren't good. That's just how we are. Okay. No matter how good some humans may be, there are ways that we do things that are not good. Okay. So that's what they thought, and they said, therefore, harsh laws are needed to to force citizens to do their duty. So the leaders there had very harsh laws, because if they didn't have those harsh laws, then the people wouldn't do what they were supposed to do for the benefit of the country. So they had they had harsh laws to force them to do what they wanted them to do. So, and it said a strong leader was needed to keep order. So they put forth these harsh laws. It favored the people in power and force, and it led to cruel laws and punishment. So if you were in power, you put these cruel laws into effect, pretty much forcing the citizens of the country to do what you said. Okay, so it really favored the people who were in power. Okay, and we'll kind of see that as we continue reading in the article. Continuing on with the second paragraph. Most of the wall was built on the top of mountain ridges. Traveling along the wall saved time because the people or soldiers had less distance to travel on top of the mountains than at the base of the mountains. The Great Wall was built with rocks, bricks, wood, and even sand to fill gaps. Its construction took over 2,200 years. Can you imagine taking that long to build something? Even though it is often understood to be one long continuous wall, it actually is a series of smaller walls that, if joined together at its most expansive point, would form a protective barrier over 13,000 miles long. Not only is the wall probably the longest man-made structure on Earth, it is also a building project that took the longest time to complete. During its construction, soldiers and peasants alike were used to build the wall. Many of these laborers left their families to work on the wall's construction, and it is estimated that millions of these workers died building it. So that's kind of where the legalism comes in. They were forced to go work on this project, even though it was really very dangerous to work on. The parts of the Great Wall still intact today measure about 5,500 miles long. While it has an average height of over 25 feet, some parts of the wall can be almost 46 feet tall. The width of the wall at the top is about 16 feet, which allowed the soldiers to ride 4 horses across, preventing enemies from making progress along the wall. The Great Wall is made of watchtowers, fortresses, and beacon towers. The watchtowers were used for surveillance, to guard against invaders, and also to monitor trade. So they were up high and on the wall, and then these watchtowers were even higher so they could see everybody that was coming toward the wall. And it warned people if they thought they needed help. The fortresses housed the military commanders who would be sent to fend off any enemies that were spotted by those in the watchtower. The beacon towers were used for communication to send messages about invasions, fires, or other important information that required help from the Chinese people or militia. So the beacon towers, they'd have certain symbols that they would use with like flames or things like that, or how they lit up the beacons, and that would tell people what was going on that could see the wall, and then they knew what kind of help was needed, whether it was an invasion from someone, or maybe there was, like it said, a fire around, or a certain kind of trade or something like that. So that was how they communicated along the wall to know what was going on and if they needed any more help. So that's more about the Great Wall of China and why it was important to ancient China to kind of keep it safe during these early times in its history. So you have 3 questions to answer. You're welcome to look back at the passage. And just remember, there is a short quiz over everything that you've done this 3 weeks on Friday, so make sure you keep track of this, and you can definitely use this to help you with that quiz on Friday. Okay? Have a great day.